Hello, good morning from Sydney. Catherine Metsopoulos here. I believe it's evening in that end of the world, so good evening. Hello. I'll just wait for a few seconds to see if anyone is going to be hopping on live. And in the meantime, I will just, start it off with a little bit of fun facts, and if anyone also wants to jump in during the replay to share as well where they're from and that sort of stuff, because that's what my fun fact is going to be. You probably noticed I have a Canadian accent, so even though I'm in Australia, I am not Aussie. By choice I am, though I did get my citizenship, and Canadian by birth, and then also the surname as it spells out, Metsopoulos, very Greek, so by heritage, that is me. And because of that reason as well, it's because it's a bit, people find it complicated to spell and to pronounce. People have been calling me Cat Mitz, and I'm just seeing that Lisa is on. Hi, Lisa. Where are you from? Please comment below while we wait for other people to hop on. So yeah, I was just doing a little bit of that, a couple of fun facts. I have 3 passports. I've lived around the world, and if you have anything to share as well while we wait a little bit, please do. And bear in mind as well, while we go through the live, feel free, comment, ask any questions, and then I'll get back to them at the end of the live. And of course, next week we have Q&A as well. So, Lisa, I don't know if there's a bit of a delay. I don't know where you're in the world, but where are you from? Happy to hear. So, all right. Now that, and by the way, if you are ever, thinking that, someday you will come down to Australia, let me know as well. If I'm still here, happy to entertain, show you around. So yes, I love that kind of stuff. And yeah, speak up. All right. Okay, we'll get started now. And before we as well get into the full topic of, the topic, sustainable success, I am aware that not many people in this community know who I am, so I'll just give you that little bit of a spiel there. So I do work with business owners, possibly like you, who are fiercely committed to having it all and being your best self. And at times, though, you could possibly be facing, those feelings of like it's a struggle to keep it all up, to make it all work together. So I help you create and sustain a balanced and fulfilling life that you love every day, so that you can experience being in control and consistent in all areas of life that are important to you. So not just what you feel comfortable with or what you've been told you should or you could. We're talking about looking outside the box, outside of that comfort zone, where magic happens, as you've probably already heard. And we're looking at expanding your reality, your possibilities beyond what you currently know them to be. So people also hear me in that context. People often hear me say things like keep things simple and sustainable, and streamline them and scale them when the time is right. Because as we all know, as passionate business owners, things get busy and quite overwhelming quite quickly as well. So we wear a lot of hats, right? Both in and out of work. And one mistake I frequently see that people make is that they put all their time and energy in one basket, really eager to make their business work, and one of 2 things happens. I see this quite frequently. And you may have noticed as well for yourself when you look around you, and possibly even for yourself, that there are 2 scenarios. One of them is that you will achieve some success in your business, like it could be at different levels as well. Different scales of success. And again, I want to point out here that success is subjective. It is your version of success, whatever that means for you. It's not what society dictates or what the neighbor says or what your friend says. It's you to determine that, right? And So you may experience some success, but there's other areas of life that seem to be struggling or suffering. And the classic story, as we know, you make money and then you spend all your money to deal with your health later down the track. I just see that more people are hopping on. Hi, Sherry, welcome. Please say hello as well and tell me where you're from as well. That's how I started off. But it's always a fascinating topic for me, having lived around the world as well and having 3 passports. So anyway, back to what I was saying. The other scenario is that you're constantly striving to make your business work and you're investing a lot of time and energy and it's still not working and you're putting your soul into it, and other areas of life are also falling apart at the same time because you're so focused on that one particular area to work. Now, in both cases, as you can tell from how I'm sharing this as well, is that there is imbalance. And it shows up in your relationship or relationships, right? With friends, family, colleagues even. It could show up in your health, in even your lifestyle, right? You're spending all that time trying to make money and then you're not living your life, right? So you feel like something is wrong or something's not quite working out. So you keep on suppressing those feelings though. And then the surprise happens, you're not even addressing, right? Like you know, you may sense that something's going on, but you keep on suppressing it. It's not the right time. I need to stay focused on my business. And then surprise, what do we hear? Things like, breakups, or there's an illness that happened, or there's some sort of emotional breakdown. And what do we do about it? Because I'm pretty certain that everyone that's in this community and anybody that is building a business, they want to have long-term results and success, right? And you want to be able to keep growing as well. If you're investing time to build something that is yours, your baby, like Nef says, and I used to say that as well, when I was an architect especially, and I'll get to that a little bit later, but you want that investment to be around and to grow with you, right? So you want sustainable success. Yes? All right. And if you say yes, write it down, because it is a declaration as well, right? It makes it always more like, there's conviction every time you say yes, 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 right? So, and I know that this topic possibly for some people, especially if you're first starting out in starting your business, that you don't really want to hear this stuff. You're desperately trying to make it work, have your business take off, get clients, make money, right? So, and of course, it is a priority and focus to have, like really. But there's something, here's the thing. I want you to consider this. At what cost? I want you to check in with yourself, because there's plenty of examples out there and we see them all the time, on the news and magazines, and of course, Facebook. Facebook is our new news feed, right? Like in an instant kind of thing. So we see, how many people have you seen over the course of your life and in your surroundings on the news, successful people, they look successful, right? They've got the money, they've got the house, they've got the car, they've got the chick or the husband or, whatever. And then the next thing you know is like they're taking drugs or they committed suicide, the marriage fell apart, they're sick, all sorts of stuff like that, right? So it's happening. So what can you do about it? Because here's the kicker. Even on this summit, everything that we're talking about, like branding, the topics, branding, communication, productivity, clarity, courage to go out there, get clients, make money. What's the common denominator here? You, right? Pretty simple. You are the creator of your business and your life. So do you see why you are so important in this equation? And that if you don't have your stuff together, your shit together, your act together, right? Whatever you want to call it, and you're not able to manage it, well then guess what happens? And here is where I'm going to share a personal example. So, and it's really like, when they say, when you point the finger, right? Like, I'm asking you to look, right? But 3 fingers back at me as well. So 12 years, well, for 12 years, I was an architect. And that was, I gave that career up 8 years ago. And it was the toughest decision that pretty much, like one of, because I've had a few in my life, right? I'm now 43. So there's one of the toughest decisions I had to make. And the thing was that I was successful at it. I was passionate about, like I was good at it. I had clients. So the last 6 years of that career, I was self-employed. And I was never without a client. Even when I moved in other countries, I just, quickly started attracting clients again. So I'm just going to take a sip of water. And and at the same time, get this, I was also part-time teaching Pilates, nutrition, and meditation. So I thought I had this perfect balance going on, right? I was taking care of myself physically. I was in love with my business. I used to call my projects my babies, and I couldn't leave them because, I'm responsible for them. So, going on holidays and stuff like that was a little bit like, ooh, I don't know if I want to leave them leave it to the hands of the construction workers and stuff like that, because it's like they're my babies. So guess what happened? So, for me, how it manifested, it was on and off. Like for 5 years, I knew something was happening, which is why I transitioned from employment to self-employment. And I thought, that's it, that's it. And I, things looked good. Everybody was like, well, what are you complaining about? What are you questioning? Like, you've got everything, you should be happy, you should be satisfied. And I was grateful. I was satisfied to some degree, but there was something missing, and I couldn't quite figure out what that was. I didn't know what I didn't know. And I kept on suppressing it, pushing it down. No, it's okay. Everything's going great in my life. And then, because I was vulnerable emotionally, I caught a lung infection, and that had me be in bed for 2 months with no energy. That's what happens. Lung infection, all systems shut down. So I didn't have the energy or desire to do anything, nor physically, nor mentally. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I was just in bed, plenty of time to think and sleep, which was very weird for me to be spending so much time doing nothing, like hyperactive human being, body, mind, everything. So before I give you the punchline, I'll get back to it in a moment, because I want to go back now to you. And I want to keep things simple. So I hope you are in a position where you have a pen, paper, something that you can write on, and take note, 6 key areas that we're going to be looking at, 6 key areas of life. And they're easy to remember, but still I want you to write them down, because you'll see what follows. So I want you to write down physical, financial, relational, mental, emotional, and spiritual, okay? Now, I'll break it down a little bit. Physical, as it suggests, health-related, body-related, what you put in, on, out, whatever, to do with your body. Financial, this is where I'm including business, career, anything work-related, and as the name suggests as well, money, and it also pays for your lifestyle, your travels, whatever that is, whatever that looks like for you. Then there's relational, of course, your intimate relationship with your partner, and then you have your family, your friends, your colleagues even. Then we have mental, and I'm not talking about mental illnesses here, we're talking about your thoughts and your capacity to learn, right? And to be a demand for growth, right? Mental growth. And then there's the emotional, the feelings, and how to manage. Do you have the tools to manage your emotions, right? And then there's the spiritual. And that was my missing link. So even though I was meditating, gosh, I was even teaching it, right? Like for me at the time, meditation was more about, stopping, calming down, breathing, that sort of stuff, right? But again, what I didn't know, that I didn't know. So it took lots of hits, those feather warnings, and there was like the bigger hits and bangs, and I still wasn't listening. I was, no, I don't want to hear it. Like, what are you talking about? Self-actualization or self-fulfillment? What is that? Like, I don't even comprehend that, there's something else calling me at this point. Like, I spent so many years as an architect, like, in university as well, and then building my practice and all that. And I'm like, whoa, no, not going there. So I kept on pushing and pushing until the lung infection happened, and I had no choice. Everything out, stop. So, and that's where connecting with your source. Now, you may call that, your God, your higher self, the one, universe, your light, call it what you will, but it's going deeper in that spiritual realm of just shutting up and listening and accepting what you listen as well and doing something about it. Now, anyway, that's, and it doesn't, and I do also want to say that, hey, things don't happen overnight either. Like, it took me almost 2 years before I figured that one out. Like, I actually, shut the doors with my business, responsibly, of course. And then I went off to India for 6 months on a one-way ticket in, and that's where things started to unravel. So it's not like quick fixes that we're talking about either, but it is awareness. And what are you then willing to do about it? So I want you to look at what you just wrote down as well. I want you to look at that list again. I want you to notice, because I said physical, financial, relational is on one side, if you will, because if you notice that's your outer world. And then there's on the other side, mental, emotional, spiritual, we're talking about your inner world. And as we know, your inner world creates your outer world, and your outer world is a representation of what's going on internally. So I want you to be honest with yourself. I want you to take this opportunity to check in with yourself and look at each part. Just like I shared, there is resistance. There are times in your life where there is utter resistance. You don't want to go there. You don't want to look at it. It's like total aversion. There's an adverse reaction happening in your system, no-go zone, but it's an opportunity. Have a look. What are you neglecting? What are you avoiding? What can you improve? Because ultimately, the whole is what makes you work and function so that you can be the best version of yourself to be able to produce your business, to create your business and your life. And here's a little note about that. If you were to look at it as well as, the outer world equals your inner world, it's not that it's going to stay, say if you said 1 equals 1, it's not always going to stay 1 equals 1. As you grow, as you elevate yourself, learn more things, have more experiences, that keeps on elevating as well. Now, the other thing I want to say here about when people say work-life balance and about the word balance and stuff, we're not talking about equal parts either. So now I just introduced 2 things, and I want you to, because you've written it down, it makes more sense, hopefully, if you've written it down, right? So it's not really work-life balance. It's more about balancing that equation of your inner and your outer world. And within, though, like your physical, financial, relational, I was saying mental, emotional, those are not equal parts. That's where people get this idea that, oh, my work life should be an equal part of my life part when they say work-life balance. It's not about that. It's the quantity and quality of the variables will differ. And they're not, and again, as you grow into this as well, that, with the seasons, with your seasons, that things, they do change. But ultimately, you want the 2 sides, the inner and outer world, to actually start to match up, right? Because it makes your life easier, smoother to run, and you can be have more sustainability, right? You can be able to sustain yourself if you're actually looking at matching these things up as much as possible. Now, the other thing about this is to have the ability also to know how to integrate it all the parts, right? And how does then that look in your actual physical life? how does that manifest? Now there is complexity around that as well, but that's, you know, another topic for another time, right? But what I want you to do then is to, like what I highly recommend that you do as well, is that just like you have a business plan, just like you have a weekly business schedule, right? And you check in on that religiously, I would imagine, like if you're really committed, right? So I want you to include now these other areas, like whatever form that have showed up for you, in whatever form that you've noticed that, oh, you know, what can I do for the physical? What can I do for the financial, relational, mental, all that? Like, which parts can you now introduce on a weekly basis in your life? And you know how we, like on Facebook, I see this all the time. It's like we leave self-care, it often comes out like that, self-care for the weekend. Like really, it's not a weekend phenomenon. You are walking around in your body at every single second. Like your mind is with you, you can't escape it, your body, you can't escape it, right? So it is important, it is crucial that you include you in this equation, in your schedule, right? So, and I want to, like an example, and I'm gonna give an example of a car. Like I'm not a car expert by any means, but you know, we buy a car, we look after it, there's different parts to it that needs to be, you know, taken care of, the filters, the water, God knows what, I don't really know, right? Somebody else takes care of that. But it is taken care of so that it can perform every day and it's not neglected. And, you know, you don't want to buy a car and then, you know, 2 minutes later it's garbage, right? Because you have invested money in it and it was your hard-earned money as well. So we have this thing about taking care of our physical belongings more than we take care of ourselves and our life. So I'm not talking only about exercise and whatever, but I'm talking about the whole picture, all areas of your life. And the same thing, Nef, I remember I had a little bit of a giggle, your example of having a child, like and in this case, what I'm going to say about is like you have a child. You can't just put it on the shelf and nurture it whenever you feel like it, get back to it whenever you feel like it. It's an everyday phenomenon. They don't go away, especially if they're living with you, right? So it's that approach to have also with yourself and your whole picture. So the action I want to have you take, and I invite you to take, is in this, like if you really want to experience sustainable success with freedom and ease, like more of it, this is a good stepping stone to actually do the work. After the Facebook Live, I know for you guys out there is in the evening. I mean, it won't take long. You can do it right before you go to bed, like journaling or something. Or you can do it, you know, before Easter weekend or on the weekend. You can sit down and take a moment over a cup of tea or coffee, whatever your thing is, and just sit down and jot down. There's 6 categories, 6 parts, and write down, what can I address here? What can I improve here? What am I avoiding? What am I missing? And you may not have all the answers in them, but you're bringing awareness to it. And it's like, I really want to emphasize that because it's so much a part of you, like, we're not even, like, there's so many things that we have subconsciously chosen, decided when we were younger or because of events and circumstances and experience. We have a lot of evidence. And we can't even make out what's what anymore. And why do we have this, like, you know, if health comes up, right? We're like, oh no, don't go there, right? I think I mentioned that earlier. It's like, no. It upsets me or something. Well, there's something to check in with yourself there. Something for you to discover and to explore. And you might not be able to do it on your own. You might need to ask for some help, right? And the other thing, before I start to close, is that I want you to observe now, again, it just so happens, like I noticed, even with the topics on this summit, I'll go back to them. Productivity, branding, communication, hello, it's all about you. It's how you represent yourself to the world, right? Like, you're the walking, talking machine. I'm like, sometimes I say things like that, but it's like people are watching you. Are you leading by example? Are you a demonstration for what you are advocating, right? So, and communication is not only what you say or what you don't say. It's what you wear, where you live, what you drive. It's all of that is a communication, an expression of you in the world, which then goes back to branding. And then with up-leveling your own performance by taking care of yourself and in even your relationship, right? Like, because if you're always arguing with your partner or your family or kids or whatever, then you're wasting time. So you need to sort that out as well. And that elevates your productivity. And then there's also, you know, the clarity and the courage to go out there and speak your mind, speak your soul, because you are connected to your source, right? And this is where it's exciting when you start seeing like, oh my gosh, everything's all working together. It's really great. And, you know, you have this energy and desire and will that just naturally comes out of you, right? So that's where it gets exciting, right? Not when you're looking at the nitty gritty little individual piece and you're like, oh, wow, you know, no, I don't want to touch that. So, and here's the tip. I'm often also heard saying one action, multiple outcomes. And I give this example frequently. Nef knows, probably other people. Oh, Lais, I don't know if you're watching the replay or not, but yeah, when, you know, these two people, I know that they know this, everybody knows this when they know me, is about swimming. So I want you to find your thing, but this is just an example. And I use it because it's so simple. But look, if you look at it, it covers all 6 areas. The opportunity to take 1 hour to cover all 6. So I'm taking care of my physical realm. I'm taking care of even my business, because when I'm in that zone, when I'm swimming, switching things off, which goes into the spiritual realm as well, right? Like switching things off, allowing things to download. And then I get these aha moments and these things that I can implement in my business or things, you know, ideas that I get, and win-win, right? And then even with my relationships, right? I'm a better version of me because I'm more chill, I'm more composed, I'm more centered. Opportunity to like even meditate in that state, right? I'm managing my emotions, calming down, all of that, taken care of. All 6, just like that, boom, bam, in an hour. You know, there's efficiency for you. So I want you to find your thing as well. And by doing the work, right, you're going to see with each of the 6 parts of your equation and how even those can start to balance each other out. You can see the relationship between your outer and inner world, and then start, you know, thinking, okay, so what can I do that would fulfill on multiple areas at the same time, right? Save time. And now I want to leave you with this. No one is coming to save you, right? So if you don't ask for help, if you don't ask questions, like opportunity again, Q&A, comment below, anything that's on your mind, or anything that when you do this, not if, when you do this little quick exercise to see what comes up for you in any area of these 6 parts that I was saying, write them in the comment section. See, like even in that declaration, in communicating that, it comes outside of your body, and then there's a possibility to then shift it, to do something about it. It's one level of awareness. So I invite you to practice that and to ask for help if you need to. You know, all of us are on a journey, and there are certain things that there's other people that you know or you may need to seek out that can help you to take your next step and your next step, that there are a few steps ahead of you. So it's an opportunity. We're here to help each other out in the world, right? So if you want to elevate your game, accelerate your results, create sustainability, because you are looking at the whole picture. I remind you, you need to look at the whole picture, right? So, and to go into new realms of possibility, then we're here. Everybody has their thing. You have your thing. So we're here to help each other out. Ask your questions. Next week, we're having Q&A week. So anything that comes up on the replay, let me know if you watched the replay. If you have any questions, what happened during, after your revelations, perhaps, as you do this little exercise, let me know, and then we can address them. And if you want any, a conversation or something like that, there's something really that, you're blocked in, or there's an element of fear that comes up for you, let me know, and then we can see what we can do about that as well. Happy to help and be of service. And I hope, maybe I should check in and see if there's anything. There's a few messages going on here. Everything is there. Yes. Cool. So, Nef, thank you. I don't think I acknowledged the fact that you hopped on. I think I saw you come in a little bit later down the track, but it's really awesome to have people on. And yes, if you do, when you watch the replay, please say hello, where you're from, and have a go at the exercise. And I think there was another one that came up. Thank you, Lisa. I'm glad that you got value out of it. And like I said, please share what you come up with, what comes up for you when you do this little exercise. And it's been fun. I like fun. So have a wonderful evening. And yes, as Nef says, ask questions, whatever comes up for you. We're here and we will address them after the Q&A. And after the Q&A. I was going to say, never mind. We're going to respond to them next week during the Q&A period, because I was just thinking that right now, if there's any questions, that I would answer them right now, but it's looking good. So, all right. So have a wonderful evening, sleep well, and I'm going to say, do it as a little journal exercise. It is lighthearted and it is about you. It's really easy. So nothing that you need to break your head with, but step one, have a go at it. All right. I will sign off now, and I have a full day ahead of me, really sunny and hot here, but you guys have a good one, sleep well, and if you're watching the replay, have a great day. Bye for now.